Hi, I'm Karen. I'm the founder of the Seniors Grief Circle. I'm so glad that you're here. If you've recently lost a loved one, maybe it's your parent or your life partner, I'm so sorry for your loss. I want to be offering you some practical and emotional advice to help you navigate this difficult time. Today, I'm going to be giving you 5 tips 5 tips that can help you with navigating first 30 days after you lose a loved one. And these are 5 areas that need your attention pretty much right away. Before I get into today's video, if you've liked what I've shared so far, please subscribe to my channel. I'm brand new to YouTube. I just started this account, and I'm hoping to reach people at midlife who've just lost a loved one. Anyone in their 40s, 50s, or 60s that's lost a parent or their life partner. I know there's a lot of really amazing grief support out there, online and otherwise, but I'm hoping to offer something a little bit different. I want to look at all the practical aspects related to losing a loved one. And I'm going to be talking more about that with my 5 tips and more towards the end of the video about my mission with the Seniors Grief Circle. So let's talk. Let's talk and have a real conversation about what happens after you lose that special person. Your mom, your dad, your spouse. You've had the funeral. Everyone's paid their respects. And you're at home in an empty home, maybe. And it can feel very isolating. It can feel weird. It can feel overwhelming. It can feel scary. All kinds of emotions. And here you are with your new reality, which kind of sucks. So it's very hard to get through. And I know this because I've lost 7 family members in 4 years. Most recently, I lost my dad. So enough about me. Let me get into my 5 tips that I really want to share with you. My first tip to you, number one, is to take care of yourself. Self-care. I know it sounds like a saying, but it's really true. When you're grieving, you really forget to take care of yourself. You don't know if you're coming or going. You're not getting enough sleep. You're up in the middle of the night. You're crying. Or you're getting too much sleep and you don't have any energy to get out of bed. You may not be eating well. Maybe you're not eating at all and you don't have any appetite. You got that empty, sinking feeling in your stomach. And who wants to eat? Or maybe you're eating everything in the kitchen just to soothe yourself. So you're reaching for ice cream or cookies or whatever, just because it makes you feel good in the moment and it soothes you. But you're really not taking very good care of yourself. And the only way that you can do that is to slow down. You got to feel in order to heal. That's what I tell my clients. If you think that you can just throw yourself into your work and just be busy and return to the life that you had and think that your grief is just going to go away on its own, it's not. You really have to face it head on. Sure, you can pretend it's not there, and you might have some good days and some good moments. But lingering deep inside you, you're going to have that ache, that emptiness. And if you really want to deal with that feeling, you got to feel it. So my number one tip is that you got to slow down. Even if things are going to feel really shitty for a long time, it's the only way through grief is to slow down and feel it. I'll be talking a little bit more about self-care and tip number 5. So be sure to stick around to the end. Number two, my second tip is you've got to take care of government matters. You got to cancel that driver's license of your loved one, their passport, your social security. If you're in Canada, you have to cancel their social insurance number. You have to cancel their government issued health card. Then you've got to file that final tax return of your loved one within that year of them passing. So you've got these government matters that are going to need your time and your attention. Tip number three, you got to get through the legal matters of your loved one. You got to figure out, first of all, if they had a will and what their last wishes were. Did they have an estate plan? Who's the trustee? Who are the beneficiaries? Do you have to file for probate? What do you do if there's no will? So you're going to have a lot of questions. You may need a really good attorney. If you and your siblings are all on the same page, that's amazing. You still may need an attorney to get through a lot of things. But if you don't get along with your siblings, you're going to need a really good attorney if you want to contest anything in the will. So legal, that's a big one. Tip number four, you got to deal with the financial matters of your loved one. When your loved one passed away, unfortunately, their finances, they carry on. All their bills still are being paid from their bank account, their mortgage payment, their rent payment, their utilities, their cell phone bill, their internet, all that stuff. All that's still being paid from their bank account. So if you're the joint bank account holder, that's a little bit easier to do. But if that was your spouse who passed away and you depended on them to pay all the bills, you might need some help around that. Maybe your children can help you with that, or the bank manager. So that's something to think about. But if there were many bank accounts involved, and this was your parents' home and your parent passed away, it's going to be hard to wrap your head around all the things that need to be shut down, the accounts that need to be closed. You've got investment accounts, you got pensions, insurance policies, lots of things that are going to need your attention. So a checklist is often helpful to get yourself organized and to think straight, because there's so many little things related to finances that will pop up. You might also need an accountant that can help you alongside an attorney. A lot of your financial matters will be tied to the will and the estate plan and wishes of your loved one. So the two almost go hand in hand. And they're not that straightforward necessarily to navigate. But you got to get your head around them. And you start with a checklist to make sure, firstly, that you've got enough funds in those accounts to cover your payments until decisions are made in terms of what to do with the assets, including the home. Moving on to my final tip, number 5. You're going to need some emotional support to really be able to think straight and to manage your grief. Because these matters, they're important and they are going to need your attention. Your loved one has passed on, but their affairs are still very much alive. And some closure needs to be brought to them. So you do need some emotional support. Make sure you have a good friend that you can talk to, or a couple of friends, to, number 1, unload your grief, and number 2, so that they can help keep you organized and thinking straight at this critical time. You can also use a grief coach, and I strongly recommend that, or a grief therapist. But a grief coach can help you develop a plan to tackle these important things, which are not easy. They're not easy to do on your own, and you don't need to suffer alone. So these are my top 5 tips. Let's recap them, shall we? Tip number 1, you got to take good care of yourself. Tip number 2, you got to get in touch with your government authorities to cancel all the government ID. Tip number 3, you need to locate the will and figure out what your loved one's last wishes were. Number 4, you got to get through your finances of your loved one in a systematic way. And tip number 5 is you got to have a really good support system to get through these first 30 days. But wait, I actually have 5 more tips. I don't want to make this video too long, but these 5 additional tips are really, really important as well. And they need to be taken into account and mindful of after you lose your loved one. If you'd like to get my 10-point checklist, which includes these 5 tips I've discussed in this video, and 5 more, you can get my checklist in my ebook. It's a really, really simple read. It's a little ebook, and it's called Grieving: How to Avoid Chaos and Find Peace and Order Within the First 30 Days. I created this checklist after my father died, and I've shared it with people that have been grieving, and I've gotten some very good feedback. And now I'm sharing it with my clients. And it really, honestly, it helps keep you sane and focused during this incredibly challenging time in your life, probably unlike anything you've ever experienced. So if you'd like a copy of it, you can get it by clicking on the link in the description box of this video. So I'll be back in additional podcast episodes to talk about anything related to your grief journey. I want to talk about the practical side and the emotional side of losing a parent or a spouse. And that's my goal with the Seniors Grief Circle. I want to be offering real talk that soothes the soul. I will be launching a heart-centered membership-based community this fall. And if you want to be updated as to when that's happening, hop over to seniorsgriefcircle.com and get on my mailing list. You'll be among the first to know about my podcast episodes, my special guests that I'm going to be bringing on very soon. We're going to be talking about all kinds of things, from downsizing, home care for your remaining parent, selling the family home, legal matters, financial matters, self-care, relationship challenges, all kinds of things that are unique to people in their 40s, 50s, and 60s who've either lost a parent or they've lost their spouse. So if that sounds good to you, get on my mailing list, and I'd love to have you there. And you'll be among the first to know when we go live. And I'm going to have all kinds of really interesting special offers. I also want to make grief coaching very affordable. So if you're struggling right now, you can join my free private Facebook group. And you can book a free coaching call with me just to chat. You can share your story. And I'm happy to give you any guidance on anything practical or emotional. I just want to help. So thank you so much for joining me for episode number 2 of the Seniors Grief Circle. Again, if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel. And please like this episode, give it a thumbs up, and share it with somebody that could benefit from it. I really enjoyed having you here today. And I can't wait to talk to you in episode number 3. I'll see you soon. Wishing you a peaceful day and lots of love. Bye.